Hello there, and welcome to the Blue Lines podcast. Hello, and we're gonna speak about all about international break, the players who have stayed at Cobham, and the players who have left for the national break to play for the national teams, as well as Rodrigo coming to Chelsea, going elsewhere, and what do Chelsea think of him, and what the players are working inside the training ground at Cobham for the players who have stayed, and some interesting statistics about Chelsea up until now in the season, playing the almost 1/3 of the season. So let's start off with the international break. A lot of players stayed, but there are a lot of important players who have stayed at Cobham. And the new news would be that Pedro Neto, the Portuguese star, has stayed as well in Cobham alongside Enzo Fernandez, among others. This is due to almost the same reason as Enzo Fernandez to protect himself from the groin injury that he has and he's suffering right now, and therefore to sustain himself and to protect himself from any unnecessary injuries, so that they continue to work in a positive way for their rehab, for the prevention of injuries, together with their physios, and to make the season as injuryless or injury free. Like to continue making it injury free as much as possible and to protect the players. As well, we have to remember that these players has just had 3 weeks of preseason, a full season last season of getting to the final of the Conference League, getting to the final and winning the World Cup. So this is all very very demanding on the physical side of the players, and alongside with all the traveling and flights every 2-3 days and playing in such enormous pressure and the requirement of delivering. There's a lot of on these players, we have to consider that, so we need to understand that these are things that are normal to happen. It's not an easy life at the end of the day being a football player, especially in such a high level. Other good news about the international break, our beloved Trevoh Chalobah has been called up instead of the Mark Geehee as a defender for the England. We all know that um, Thomas Tuchel loves the player. He said in the last interview that when the last interview, meaning the last international break before this one, that Thomas Tuchel said that Trevoh Chalobah couldn't make it just because he was unfortunate because of the players that he has at his disposal and for the England team. And now, since there is an injury to McGeehee, he was like the natural replacement. So that is a good, well done, and shout out to Trevoh Chalobah for making it into the England team and presenting his country and possibly earning a call, or let's hope that he earns a call for the World Cup squad. Yeah. So because this is all the aim of the player and of us as a Chelsea fans. Yeah, seeing our boy from Cobham playing in the World Cup and possibly even winning it, or at least going very far in the competition of the World Cup that is coming up this summer in the US. And this is all like players like Enzo Fernandez, like Marcus Caicedo, like Estafos Santos, Joe Pedro. You mention it, you name it, even Garnacho, all are trying to preserve and protect their bodies just because of the injuries that they have or containing or whatever they're doing, and to play for the World Cup that is coming up. We all know that is a very big prestigious competition, almost one of the biggest competition that a players can play in and even winning. So yeah, we need to continue understanding this time. And a good insight about Cobham right now that Enzo Fernandez is training the team of as placed at his disposal. For example, Caranacho, for example, Pedro, no, for example, Liam Delap, who's returning from injury, which is great news that he stayed, and he's working directly with Enzo Maresca, getting more and more into shape, getting sharper, and he's getting into the Liam Delap that we knew at Ipswich, and so that he scores more and more goals, especially in the important games that are coming up against Barcelona, against Arsenal, and run for the Christmas period. Um, and they are focusing a lot about they're focusing. The main aim is to continue focusing as a training rather than doing like something like preseason where they take care of their bodies, like rehab, and doing what they need. So the mentality there is to continue focusing, continue getting better in the tactics, in the physical side, in the mental side, into refining the details, into trying to something new to implement it for 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 the tactics for the new games that are coming up. You all know that Enzo Maresca adapts on a consistent basis his tactics for each team, and of course his players, what their needs are, etc. So there's a lot of adaptation for Enzo Maresca in anything that he does. Sometimes I feel it's a bit too much because a game like Arab Rock we could have gone and played our game instead of adapting so much, because of course you need a number of consistency, you need like a base home square that you always return to. Of course that is implemented, but sometimes it's a bit too much of adaptation. But we all know that the mentality that they are forming inside the Stamford Bridge inside Cobham is a real good one. It's a phenomenon which all of us are praising, including the journalists, including the Buddhists, including other teams. So yeah, the training inside Cobham is going well, focusing on getting sharper, focusing on continuing the consistency that we need to play more games, to win more games. We're only sixth points are behind Arsenal. The first was the league leaders, and we are the third position in the league. Therefore, we are still in the battle from the Premier League. I saw that Todd Bowley is aiming to win the Premier League next season, not this season. Although we have a good run, if we have a good run, we might just make it as we are or better. I believe we can as well. I think this year it's all about the Champions League as well. I feel like that I'm more focusing on the Champions League to win the Champions League rather than to win the Premier League, because of the consistency required by the Premier League is huge, far more than what is required from the Champions League. Since the Champions League is a knockout stage, you need to be on your days when you play, but consistency is a term of something else like the Premier League, because you need to win every game in order to win the league, not those days that you really need to win and get the results. For example, if you lose one game, the other game in the knockout stages you need to win by some margin. So you know that you need to be on your day. So that is what I'm referring to when I'm saying you need to be on your day when you play in the Champions League. And as we also know, last year we won two knockout stages, the conference and the World Cup. And like for example, the game against PSG as a World Cup final, we were on our day and we won, and that's it. Even though we lost against Flamingo, even though we lost about this and that, it does not matter because it's a knockout stage. So yeah, a good interesting statistic that I saw up until now in the first third of the Premier League is that Chelsea has scored 21 goals, and they are, if I'm not mistaken, the second highest goal tallies that we have scored, and which is a fabulous result of how much we are improving as a team, as a side. But we also need to see how we can continue improving our attacking consistencies within the team to continue to attack good as we are, to continue scoring games without the need of surprise of are we going to turn up today? Are we not going to turn up today? For example, against Sunderland, for example, against Bradford, for example, against Arab. We know that if we go there, we're gonna win and score goals. That kind of consistency and stability we need as a base, as a squad. So it's a good, I think it's on a good path. We all know that Estavo is improving massively, and I think by January, February, he's gonna be a phenomenal player. We all know that Garnacho is returning to the player that we know and we used to like when he was at Manchester United, and we also noticing that he's improving massively. So the Garnacho we know is going to be on a higher level than he was before. We all know that up until now, Cole Palmer didn't play as a major position, and he's going to return to the squad hopefully very soon. And we all know the effect and the big impact that he does on our squad. For example, last year we won the World Cup. So yeah, we a lot of things are coming back together, and I'm really happy of how the squad is coming together like a puzzle to continue improving and going higher, playing against the big teams, the big boys, and earning more and more consistency. A good, nice rumor, which I'm going to bring up from summer, is that Fabrizio Romano has just reported that Rodrigo from Real Madrid might come to Chelsea, or is rumored to come to Chelsea. It contains that Chelsea are very appreciative of the player, they really like the player. However, with the new players such as Estavo and the financial aspect of the club, they are still not aligned or not in line with the requirements of Rodrigo, and for this reason they are not going to really pursue the transfer up until now. For these reasons, I would also add, what about Garnacho? What about Kittens? What about Ganda coming in next year? So there's a lot of competition. We feel that we're gonna get better, even though he's not there. I think he's a massive upgrade on Jamie Gittins. But of course, what about Garnacho? It will be a good competition over there. But I still also feel that we're gonna pay so much, and yeah, we don't know what we're getting. So we're gonna pay like Moses Caicedo, the new Moses Caicedo contract wage, but he's not going to affect the game as much as just because of the nature thing of his side. Bayern Munich are not interested up until now because of what they're doing at Bayern, which they have so many good wingers, and they bought some wingers like Luis Diaz this summer. PSG are into it, but not as much as Tottenham. Would love to continue pursuing the player, but they feel that it's not the right time. Manchester City therefore has the sole the sole persuasion of buying the player, so they're alone. So they wish to buy the player as they did with Donnarumma, have that effect on their squad. I would be slightly concerned if that happened, I have to say, if they play and buy Rodrigo, because he's such a good player. I really like what I see from him. But yeah. So what do you think about Rodrigo joining Chelsea, or what do you think about Rodrigo joining our arch rivals Manchester City? And what does it consequence in the Premier League now and in the future, also in the Champions League? I think it's gonna be a huge one. we see if it has happens or not. We all know the player is not happy at Real Madrid playing under Xavi Alonso. We also know that a lot of players inside Real Madrid camp are not happy at all and they would love to leave due to Xavi Alonso. There's a big chaos and panic going on with the players such as Rodrigo, such as Vinicius, such as Jude Bellingham, such as Valverde. They're not really enjoying their life playing under Xavi Alonso, and Xavi Alonso is trying to implement a number of things, and I think he's being supported by the board of Real Madrid. So that's a big chaos, which I feel that if Chelsea want to do something about it, now is the time. If they want to bring in Rodrigo, if they need to bring out Vinny or someone else, we all know that Andrik had enough and he's leaving to Lyon. So if there's opportunity right now for Chelsea, if they want to bring in a player from Real Madrid, and we all now know the star high level of the players that they have over there. Of course, they have their own consequences, such as the high wages and the ego, but which can affect the changing room. But we'll see. What do you think? Do you think we should go and bring a player from Real Madrid like Vinicius, like Bellingham, like Valverde, like Mbappe? We'll see. What do you think? Comment down below. Comment what you think of the consequences if Rodrigo joins Man City, and who would you like for Chelsea to buy in January or in the future? Yeah, comment down below. I would love to hear further from your side. Please like and subscribe this channel and see you soon.